Fancy some adjustability in your street twin forks? Hi, Tony here and welcome. As I alluded to in the intro, this video is going to be about adding some adjustability to the front forks of your Triumph Street Twin. If you're a Street Twin owner, you will know that the bike comes with a set of Kayaba front forks, no adjustability, 120mm of travel, they are what they are. Now for the majority of riders, that's going to be fine. They're not going to need to do anything to those at all. But if you're looking for a little bit of adjustability, then I've got a product here from Freespirits which allows you to put some preload into those shocks. Now, as I said, the standard setup is probably going to be okay for most riders. What Triumph have to do when they set shocks up like this is pick a kind of a median weight, if you like, for the rider and set the shocks up for that rider. So if you're lighter or heavier, the shocks may not work for you and you've got no adjustability. These preload adjusters are there just to effectively set that compression, the initial compression of the spring, so that you get that spring in the right space for its stroke to be working effectively. As you tighten this increases the preload on that spring, that reduces the sag and will actually make the bike a little bit higher at the front end. One thing that these won't do is make the suspension stiffer. The bike comes from the factory with a standard coil spring in it. That means that the coils in the spring are equally spaced out and it has a set spring rate. Compressing it with these won't change that. That spring rate is constant throughout the stroke of that spring. If you want to start getting into damping and rebound adjustment and all of that, then for this bike you're going to have to either change the shocks or get a different cartridge that will go inside the existing fork legs. There are a couple of manufacturers out there. I think Öhlins make one and Andriane also make a cartridge set which gives you a lot more adjustability. For this, all we're looking to do is to be able to set the sag up correctly for you and just give you that little bit of an adjustment. Now, I'm not going to take you through the ins and outs of setting up the suspension on the bike. I'm no expert, as I already said. There's plenty of resources online, on YouTube, and if you're really stuck, then it's worth going to see a professional to get that sorted out. But it might be useful to take a couple of baseline measurements just for record, just to tuck away in your owner's folder so you know where you are from basic. And that would be the unloaded sag, the static sag, and the laden sag. So the unloaded sag, you want to jack the front of the bike up to get all of the weight off and then take a measurement on the clear part of the fork leg that you can see. Bit tricky on this bike, I know, because you've got a rubber fork gaiter which you'll have to kind of undo and move that out of the way. But with the bike jacked up, you'll get your unloaded sag measurement. Get the bike back on its wheels, get somebody to help you support it so you've just got the weight of the bike. Take that measurement again, and the difference between that measurement and your unloaded measurement is your static sag. The next thing you want to do is to get on the bike, sit on it with your feet on the pegs, take that measurement again. That is then your laden sag, and that's the bit that you will be able to adjust with the preload adjusters once they're installed. To get to these top caps is not particularly easy. You've got a 30mm socket or spanner that needs to go onto these. The fixings for the clutch lever and the brake master cylinder kind of get in the way. You could take each side of that off independently, but probably the quickest and easiest way is just to take the 4 bolts out of here and then you can lift the handlebars up out of the way. I've got the front jacked up, so I've taken the load out of the springs, so you've got the least amount of tension on these as you can, and then it's just a simple case of unscrewing these, screwing the new ones on. Now we've got easy access to this top nut here. I'm just going to put a piece of soft material over that just to protect it a little bit when I put the socket on. It's not going to be under massive amounts of load, but there's going to be enough. It's not a particularly tight fitting, so once you've got the first turn done, I can lose the breaker bar actually and go to a smaller ratchet. going to be easy enough to do by hand now. There you go, not a lot of pressure on that. That's the top cap. Inside there you'll have the little plastic spacer, which is, if you were doing this without the preload adjuster and you wanted to set that up, this is where you'd have to adjust the length of this preload spacer in the top here. There's the original cap, there's the preload adjuster. All you need to do is to take this O-ring off, swap it onto here, screw this one back in. One point to note is when you put this back in, it's a different size nut. This is a 32mm, the original one is a 30mm. Freespirits do make a soft socket that goes over the top of that, but if you're careful you can get away with doing it without putting any marks on there. So it's just a case of screwing that back down until it seats in. And then you just need to torque this to the factory setting, which will be appearing on the screen somewhere here. There you have it, a nice, quick and easy job, and you've now got that little bit of preload adjustability in the front forks that you didn't have as standard, and they look pretty good on the bike too. As usual, there'll be links here for bits that I've referenced in the video and links through to other videos. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button, that would be fantastic. There will be some more content coming through. The sharp-eyed of you may have noticed that there's no yellow tint on the headlight here. That really needed replacing. It had a couple of chips and digs in it, and there's been quite a lot of people asking how it's done, what way did I do it, so I thought I'd video another installation of that. I didn't do it the first time around, but I'll do one of those for those people that have requested. That'll come up soon. Until the next video, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah.